In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul. I'm a dead slain in the tech zone.
All right, welcome back to the Tech Zone. Paul Amadeus Lane here on ABC News Radio, KMET, Amen FM. Welcome you who are streaming on Roku, Fire TV, who are checking us out on iHeart, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. Now, I stand corrected. Yes, this makes mistakes all the time. Yes, it does. We left the first part of our show coming to break. And I was talking about becoming a chocolatier and how fun it can be with the entire family. The reason why this is something that we're going to start doing in my household is because my wife and I, we both have to stay away from sugars. And we want to know if the ingredients in our chocolate is good for us. So the best way that you can control that is by doing your own thing. And I'm so happy to welcome back an individual had a great chat with at CES Virtual 2021. We're talking about the awesome, the amazing Nate Saal, CocoTerra founder. What's going on, my friend? How are you?
How you doing, Paul? It's good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you too, my friend. You always have that amazing smile on your face that makes me smile, Nate.
You know what? When you're eating chocolate and surrounded by chocolate all the time, it's hard not to be smiling.
See, that's what I'm talking about. See, but the problem is, Nate, you eat chocolate and you're still a nice size. I look at chocolate and I put on 12 pounds. So I want to be like you when I grow up, Nate.
You know what? We'll talk about that because there's healthy chocolate and there's less healthy chocolate. So as part of our conversation, let's definitely talk about sort of what goes into chocolate and how you can make it more healthy, a healthier part of your lifestyle. So we'll touch on that.
Sounds good to me, my friend. Now, for the ones who missed our chat at CES 2021, why don't you give them a brief history of CocoTerra and why you created it in the first place, Nate?
Happy to do it. So as you mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of CocoTerra. I've spent the last 25 years in the tech world doing startups, everything from software updating, multimedia streaming to haptic touchscreen technologies. All the while I've had a passion for food and cooking and growing produce and fruits and vegetables, and had an opportunity, an idea for a product that didn't exist in the world, and decided that it had to be. And so this is CocoTerra, or CocoTerra chocolate maker, and it will create a custom fresh batch of chocolate in about 2 hours. So starting with the basic ingredients, you can make your own personal batch of chocolate. It makes about a half pound, 3 to 4 bars of chocolate in a 2-hour time frame. And you don't have to know anything about chocolate making. And that's really sort of one of the reasons why this has to exist. And I wanted this to exist, which is I'm a DIY guy. Anything you can sort of grow and make, like I want to try it. My background is in molecular biophysics, biochemistry. So I'm a science geek at heart. So if it's making wine and fermentation and making olive oil and balsamic vinegar, I've been a beekeeper since I was a kid, and I found out it's quite hard to make chocolate. The physics and the chemistry, like you really have to know quite a bit. And so what we wanted to do is really simplify that process, and starting with the basic ingredients, handhold for people who've never made chocolate before, and bring this experience. I mean, it's amazing. It's transformational. Really, it's a magic that sort of happens before your eyes that turns these raw ingredients into chocolate that you can eat. So
I love it. I love it, Nate. And when you look at this amazing piece of innovation, it looks fun. Looks like the whole family can do, and that's what makes it pretty awesome. Now, I'm not from Missouri, but I want you to show me some of that amazing chocolate. You got a little picture you can show us?
We'll do that. Yeah. So we're gonna scan down here. I'll just quickly show you a little bit of what we've made. So this is your starting ingredient right here. These are called cocoa nibs. Not everybody knows what they are, but they're essentially roasted, broken up pieces of the cocoa beans. This is what cocoa beans look like. when you sort of buy them from a farm. And most people may not know as well, which is most cocoa beans grown on small family farms. These are equatorial farms, so about plus or minus 20 degrees off north and south of the equator. All the family farms, they come together. This is a fermented product. So for people who are into the fermented food world, the first week of a cocoa bean's life is actually spent in fermentation. You then take these beans, you roast them, you deshell them. There's a thin shell that exists. Here's a little couple pieces here you can see. That needs to all come off, and then you end up with these nibs. And that's what goes into our machine. So similar to, let's say, a coffee maker, where you buy roasted coffee beans and put them into your coffee maker. In our world, you buy roasted cocoa nibs and you put them into the machine, and it will, go through a recipe process. And here's some white chocolate, and you can see something interesting about this is that it's decorated. This is called a transfer sheet. It's pretty cool. It's industry standard. It's a thin piece of film that has colored cocoa butter printed on it. And so you can really customize the chocolate. Not only do you get to pick sort of the ingredients and the recipe, but you get to even decorate and play. And then here are a couple other chocolates that I've made, and you can see I've sort of broken it up into different sizes, little bite-sized pieces. This is like a 70% dark chocolate with cacao from the Dominican Republic. This is a dark milk chocolate that I made.
Nate, that is awesome. I mean, that chocolate looked delicious. Oh, some of that white chocolate right now, man. Too bad we don't have the technology exist that you could beam it over here.
You know what? It's one of the biggest challenges of the pandemic is not being able to let someone experience this, because it's not just the chocolate that you eat, but actually watching this machine transform these ingredients in front of your eyes, and the smell that this thing puts off, like literally it fills the room with chocolatey goodness. So, this is something that you definitely want to experience, and we'll get together at one of these events at some point. All the chocolate events are starting to happen again. They're starting to open up. Big one in Seattle called the Northwest Chocolate Festival is coming up. One in New York, Salon de Chocolat, virtual Dallas Chocolate Festival. So for anybody who's into chocolate, there are festivals all over. The ones that are virtual, obviously you can join, no problem, but be there in person and you get to delight in chocolate.
Absolutely. And one thing you mentioned about, we can control our ingredients, lifestyle that we have and everything. What I like about this too, Nate, is that we can put in some quality ingredients. Now, let's say, we ordered our CocoTerra. What is the best places that we can go to make sure we get the greatest ingredients? I know you have the keys to the kingdom when it comes to that.
Yeah, so that's always the sort of the next question we get is, great, I can make chocolate, but what are the ingredients and how do I get them? And so really part of what we're going to do is make that available, make those ingredients available to CocoTerra users. We want to be in that business, and we have to be in that business. You can't go to your local grocery store. If you're baking bread, you're making ice cream, great. Go to the grocery store and you can buy all the ingredients. But it's cocoa nibs, cocoa butter, milk powder, sugar. Some of those aren't so easy to get. So we will actually make those available. So what's nice is there's an existing supply chain of ingredients, but that's typically funneling into the chocolate makers of the world. And so what we're going to do is make that easy for the consumers and make nibs available. So when we have a recipe, we're going to have a recipe collection that people can choose from. You can very easily then buy the ingredients for that recipe. At the same time, it's an open system. So if you go traveling, if you go to Mexico, if you go to some other country and they happen to have a bag of cocoa beans there, go for it. Like, buy that bag, figure out how to roast them. You can have the fun or the mess of deshelling them. And typically, by the way, that's done with a hair dryer. You crush these things up with a rolling pin, and then you take a hair dryer to them as you're bouncing them around, and pieces of shell go flying everywhere. So make sure you do it outside and not indoors. But yeah, you can do that and develop a recipe and create your own recipe for those nibs that you picked up. But you're exactly right. So we will make it very easy. What we want to do is provide people with a chocolate making experience. That means that we make the ingredients available, we make the recipe available, or create your own. We have the machine that's available. We're going to have different flavorings and decorations and molds available. And a lot of chocolate is gifted. So you know what? Here's an example. Something I can send to you at some point. You know what? And that's right. Here's one of the unusual things about our machine. You end up with a ring of chocolate. It's about a ½ pound. You can see this one's decorated as well. And it has to do with the technology that we've developed. It's a very unique molding process. We're actually centrifugally molding chocolate, which I don't know if anybody's ever done before. But that's how our machine works. And we can certainly dig into the tech if people are interested in it. There's some neat tech in here. It is an IoT connected appliance with a mobile app that you can choose to use if you want. Not required, but yeah, we can. This is the tech zone, so you just let me know how deep you want to dive, and we'll go at it.
Hey, Nate, let's go deep. I mean, deeper than Atlantis. So let's talk about that amazing technology. All
right, let's do it. So the first thing is it's connected appliance, IoT device. That means it connects to a cloud-based recipe system. So you can navigate this whole collection of recipes. You can create your own, store them in your own sort of personal recipe book, access them, make them again, add tasting notes to them if you so choose, tweak and tune those recipes. Now, it will work as a standalone appliance. And as I mentioned, there is an app that works with it. Why would you need an app? Well, the first thing is you don't need to hover over this machine. It is only a 2-hour process. And for people who haven't made chocolate before, you may think, wow, 2 hours, that seems like a long time. Turns out, people who make chocolate at home, it's typically 24, 48 more hours. So we usually get the opposite comment, which is there's no way you're making premium chocolate in 2 hours, but we do. So the app, a couple things. One is it'll tell you what's happening on the machine. So if you're hovering around the house, going for a jog, doing dishes, whatever it is, entertaining, you have a dinner party, you don't have to hover over the machine. The other is the whole recipe management side. So if you want to have a collection of your favorite recipes, you can do that or create your own. You'll do that on the app. And finally, the shopping part of it as well. So we have a whole store where you can look at all these ingredients and pick and choose what you want. And then there's an exploration section again, if you want to get into sort of the chemistry, the physics, the history of chocolate. There's so many fascinating aspects to chocolate. You can do that. But in terms of the real tech in here as well, so let's talk about heating and cooling. That's a major part of chocolate making. Being able to manage the temperature, obviously very important in some of the early steps. So the steps in chocolate making are grinding, refining, conching, tempering, molding. You have to manage temperature throughout the process. If it gets too cold, guess what? Your chocolate starts getting solid. So you have to make sure it's warm enough to keep all that fat, all that cocoa butter liquid, okay? You also need to cool that chocolate, right? When you're tempering chocolate, you actually have to cool the chocolate, hit a very specific temperature target, and that will allow the chocolate to be in temper. Now, what we're using there, we need to both heat and cool. So typically, people are using, coils or light bulbs to do heating, like hair dryer type tech, and cooling, they're using compressors. So we're actually using something called Peltier devices, TECs, thermoelectric coolers. And if you haven't checked those out, go to YouTube or something and just go and search that, and you'll see some awesome videos. So this is a solid state ceramic chip, okay? And you apply voltage across the two leads, and one side instantly turns hot, and the other side instantly almost freezes.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's called the Peltier effect. And then the other cool part is you just flip the voltage and it switches. And so the side that was hot all of a sudden starts cooling and will start freezing, and the cold side will get scorchingly hot. And so these are actually used in, I think even they use them in computers for cooling microprocessors. They're used in cars for the little console coolers. They're used in wine fridges. They're used in lab refrigerators in hospitals, etc. So it's pretty cool technology, solid state device, works on some interesting principles, physics principles, having to do with different metals coming into contact with each other. So check it out if you haven't seen that. Lots of fun.
I love it. I mean, I was geeking out here. You talk about all the technology that's in there. I mean, and that is so awesome. And just to think, Nate, 20 years ago, you and I probably never would have thought that this would be able to happen in our own kitchen. Man, That's awesome. And
here's the big question, right? People have, right, you have a coffee maker, people have ice cream makers, people have pasta makers, people have bread makers. Like chocolate is like this major, right, in yummy, delicious, indulgent health food. Eat it when you're happy, eat it when you're sad, and yet there's no way to make it easily in your home. And so we wanted to change that and really bring this chocolate making capability to people in their own homes.
You know what I thought was pretty cool, too, Nate, is when you showed that gift box. Can you show that gift box one more time?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty awesome. And the reason why I thought that was pretty awesome was that you and I can make some chocolate and we can send a gift like that to our friends.
That's right.
That is like super cool. I mean, in the box and everything. Now, if we do that, Nate, we probably have to ship it in ice or ship it in the cold months, right?
You know what? So that's really good point. Now, here's the interesting thing about chocolate. And this is why there aren't a lot of online chocolate stores, because chocolate is very difficult to ship. 90 degrees Fahrenheit is sort of the limit of chocolate. Once you get above 90 degrees, it starts melting and it starts losing its temper. So what does that mean? We're going to get deep into tech and science here. What solidifies is cocoa butter. It's the fat from these nibs. These nibs here that you see, they're 50% fat. That fat that's in these nibs is called cocoa butter. Now, it has an interesting property, which is that it can crystallize in actually 6 different structures. Okay? So think of a Lego. Think of, your 2x4 Lego block, right? You can take that same Lego block and you can stack it in lots of different repeating patterns. Some are more stable than others. And it's the same as true with cocoa butter molecules. Some are more stable than others. And there's only one that you want to exist. There's only one type. It's called the Form 5 crystal. And that's the one that makes this snappy, shiny, melts properly in your mouth chocolate. And if you don't do it quite right, or if you've ever left a bar of chocolate in your car, right, and you go back to it afterwards and you open it up and it's all like white and it looks like almost moldy or whatever, it's not moldy. It's literally just lost its crystal structure. So now you sort of have this mess of all different crystals, and the white is actually the cocoa butter molecules that didn't get packed in nicely, that get squeezed to the surface. You can take that chocolate, melt it, retemper it. It'll be perfectly good. But so you have to make sure that either you're only shipping in the winter time, which is what a lot of craft chocolate makers will do, or you're putting it in expensive packaging, right, with insulation and a chill pack and all that. So I expect the chocolate will be handed off to people, but you can actually ship as well. You just have to make sure you do it in a controlled temperature.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I'm gonna drive mine around, because I don't want to have it melt unless I'll invest in some pretty cool ice packs. And you know what? Maybe I'll create an ice pack company. And
there you go. What's happening there is they're using starch. They're trying to make them all sort of biodegradable now, because a lot of them end up sort of single use, and people don't want the waste. So they're trying to make them all biodegradable.
Yeah, you and I can work together on that. You
Sounds
order
good.
from my company, order from your company. We'll do that. Okay.
I like it.
So, Nate, a lot of things have changed since CES 2021. You guys actually have a pre-order going on, which is pretty awesome. Anything else from the CES 2021 experience that kind of stood out in your mind before we talk about how ones can get on the pre-order list?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing was it was a tough year. To have a show which was all virtual, where people couldn't go hands-on with the tech. You're sort of relying on videos and live demos, and especially like this is really an immersive experience for us. The visually seeing the transformation, the smell, like the taste, like really it takes into account all your senses, and you don't get that in a sort of CES, the 2021 CES. You didn't have that. So, it was hard. We got some good coverage. People were really excited about what we built. So that was the positive of it. And we have now people following up with us and saying, look, we couldn't go hands-on at CES. Can we get together? So literally we did our first live chocolate making session just this last week with somebody who saw us at CES, and we got to make it. Yeah, so they're there. We're taking our pre-orders. You can go to CocoTerra.com, CocoTerra, and this is early birds. People who want to be the first to get this in their kitchen. Like, make sure you sign up now. We only have a limited number of these that we're doing at this early, at this price, at this shipping date. So get out there and sign up, and you'll be one of the first. You'll be the envy of your community, and I would say family, but now we're getting through this isolation, and this is a perfect opportunity for people to socialize, and what could be better. And this is really one of the visions that I had, which was, you start this machine, you start making chocolate when in the beginning of cooking dinner, and you have people coming over, and then by dessert time you have this fresh batch of chocolate that you bring out. And I'll tell you, there's something really fun about just smashing this ring of chocolate into bits and hanging out, letting people break off pieces and eat it, and it's delicious. So,
and Nate, this machine really pays for itself, man. It's like, you make your own chocolate, high quality chocolate.
That's right.
And I know ones with dietary restrictions. I remember you and I had this conversation last time, and even like persons with disabilities being able to experience this chocolate making, maybe with a caregiver, maybe with a family member. This is like really awesome. And speaking of like dietary restrictions, I know my wife and I, we're both ketogenic. I know some who are diabetic,
Right.
some who are just clean eaters and want the best product, the best clean ingredients out there. I think this is really going to fill a void to help ones to stay on their programs, whatever it is, Nate.
Yeah. So you nailed it. One of the huge benefits of the machine is you get to make chocolate not only that sort of fits your palate, right? It has the flavors that you want or the style that you want, but it fits your diet or your dietary restrictions. People who have nut allergies, people who are lactose intolerant, people who are on keto diet. Those are all. It makes it much more challenging to get something that, one, it have much variety, and even if you do have some variety, not all the products are very good. I went to a friend's house for dinner. He said, "Oh, I got keto friendly chocolate," and I tried this stuff. Excuse me.
It made you do that, didn't it? It made you cough, didn't it?
Yeah, like literally, I'm having sort of like flashbacks to that moment. It was like, you know what? you could maybe call it chocolate. That's not what I call chocolate. And so, yeah, you can have alternative sugars in here. I mean, first you can have 100% dark chocolate. You can really, for people who are on a no sugar diet, you can put in. We make an incredible combination of a nut and cocoa nib, like a hazelnut chocolate spread. You can go sugar free if you want. You can put in sugar alternatives. So allulose, tagatose. We did a batch of Truvia, and get that sweetness without really, for people who are diabetic, right, that need low glycemic index sugars. Like, this is a great way to do that. If you want to make sure that you're nut free, just never put nuts in this. We'll have ingredients that come from nut free facilities. And the other piece I'll touch on really is the sort of social, ethical issues around chocolate. Being able to choose ingredients that match your value system is going to be really important. There are issues of deforestation with growing, cocoa trees, cacao trees. Let's make sure that I'm buying, cacao that, is sustainably grown. Let's make sure that there's no child labor or slave labor in the growing and harvesting process. Let's make sure that, we have a low carbon footprint. So we can make all those ingredients available to people and really give them an opportunity to, choose ingredients that match their value system.
I love it. I can't wait to get mine, because I am going to make some out of this world chocolate, and I'm gonna put my picture on it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, you can do that. So no joke. So there are like thousands and thousands of these standard transfer sheets that you can get for any holiday sports team, just cool designs. But guess what? You can actually have custom transfer sheets made that can have private messages like, congratulations, Paul, or even images, graphics, that, you can put on there, and you can see some of them are multicolored. So you can use a cool, Tech Zone logo, and we can make Tech Zone branded chocolate.
What? Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
See, I'm getting all geeked out and everything now with this. This is really, really awesome. And Nate, anything else out there you'd like to talk to the audience about, or share anything else about CocoTerra? I always enjoy our conversations, Nate, because I love chocolate and I love tech, and anything else out there you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is you don't have to be a chocolate expert now to make chocolate. And really, that's one of the things that we focused on, which is if you come to this with no previous experience, like this will handhold you through that process and make you a creative, successful, and proud chocolate maker. But at the same time, it will teach you. They always say, a great appliance doesn't abstract you away from what it is you're doing. It educates you in the process, and you will learn about chocolate. You will learn about chocolate making, and if you come in with expertise or previous knowledge, we have interfaces and ways that you can use all that and really tune and tweak the settings. So it's all about really exposing people to the wonderful world of premium, or we call fine chocolate. This is like coffee. This is more like wine than it is candy. So welcome to the world of fine chocolates, and I encourage everybody to make chocolate.
I love it. So let's get some more people on board. How can they get on this pre-order?
Yeah, so they can go to our website at CocoTerra.com, CocoTerra.com. You can read all about the machine, all about what it can do. Go ahead and you can deep dive into that. If you have any more questions, please, there's a form you can submit questions. But there's a pre-order now button you can see in the top right. Click on that, and you'll get the best pricing, this early bird pricing. And be first in line of getting that first batch of machines that we're manufacturing, and again, you will have many happy friends.
I love it, Nate. Nate, we got to do this again real soon, my friend. This has been awesome chatting with you and our good friends over at CocoTerra. We really appreciate you coming on, and thank you so much. I want to, on a personal level, thank you for sharing our interview that we had at CES 2021 on your website. That was really cool. Really appreciate that.
No, I thank you for hosting me, and anytime you want to chat and geek out on tech, and there's more we can get into for sure. There's more science, more physics, more cloud computing. We can deep dive anytime, my friend.
Hey, that sounds like a plan. We'll do that real soon, my friend.
Sounds good.
Huge shout out to Nate Saal, founder and CEO of the CocoTerra company. Really enjoyed chatting with Nate. He and his team are just awesome. I met him at CES 2021. We had an amazing chat. I was visiting a virtual event, and I was like, I got to get them on the show and talk about it. So, hey, if you want to get in this first batch, do it now. This thing is about to blow up. And think about having some chocolate time with your family and friends. You can send chocolate as gift, healthy chocolate, and that's pretty amazing, isn't it? All right, well, it's time for me to make like a tree and get out of here. So until next time, stay well, stay safe. I love you all to life, and I'll talk to you real soon.